So hello viewers and welcome back to another video on Video Geeks. So in today's video we are going to talk about Cypress. Basically in this video we are going to see that how we can install Cypress, what are the different components and how we can get started with it. And yeah, in this play series, so we'll make a whole entire series on Cypress where we'll explore how to write automation tests, end-to-end tests with Cypress. So yeah, behold your horses because this will be going to a very interesting playlist for all of us. So yeah, without wasting much time, let's get started. Yeah, before we start, I would like to mention that all the things that I will be explaining that are majorly from this Cypress documentation. So if you are someone who don't want to read the documentation, just follow along with the things that I'll be covering in today's session. By the way, if you are interested, you can also watch and go ahead for the docs because docs cover most of the things that I'll be teaching and it covers very detailed explanation. So there are certain things that I might not cover from this section, but yeah, majority of the things I'll make sure to cover it. So yeah, let's just go on to video VS Code and let's get started with it. So yeah, before we start with Cypress, we need to make sure that we have npm or node or both of those installed in our machine wherever we are running. Let's say we are inside your Mac, we are inside our Windows machine, anywhere. You just need to make sure that you must have node installed. So yeah, if you are not sure whether you have VS Code installed or not, or sorry, if not VS Code, the Node.js installed or not, what you can do is you can just open terminal and you can just hit node-v command to see whether what is the version of node that you might have installed. And yeah, you can also use this npm version to see what version of npm that you might have installed with your current installation. All those things they have mentioned on the Cypress documentation. So if you go on this page, they might have listed certain OS system requirements, certain Node.js requirement and certain packages. Make sure that you follow the base requirement that they have mentioned. So here, let's say for npm we should have greater than 10.10, and for node we should have 20.x, 22.x or greater than 24.x. So let's just make sure that we have all those stuff or not. Again, to do that, what we need to do is we need to use node-v command and npm-version command. As you can see, we have node version 22.16.0 which falls under the base requirement for node. For npm also we have greater than 10.x, so greater than or equal to 10.x, any npm version. So yeah, we falls under the satisfied requirements. Now let's talk about how we can set up the project. So before we set up our Cypress project, what we need to make sure that we issue this command which is called npm init-i, or we can just use npm init command to initialize this project as a node project. So inside your root project directory you issue this command, and if you issue this command, basically it will ask for the package name. You just provide the certain description that might you want to give. Otherwise you can just leave these things blank and yeah, you can click enter, and basically what it does is it will generate this package.json file which will be very important for any of the project. Now you can just clear this terminal. Now what I want you to do is you can just use this command npm install Cypress. Yeah, and you can also use --save dev to save the Cypress as a dev dependency, but in this section we do not do that. We will install Cypress as a dependency of our package.json file or our project. So we just use this command npm install Cypress, and it will take some time to install the Cypress. So we'll just wait for Cypress to be installed. And yeah, if you can see, Cypress has been installed and you might have this package-log.json file and node modules. What you can do is we can create a git repository, git init. We can clear this. We can create the git ignore file, and yeah, we can include node modules, and yeah, that is the file that we want to that is the folder that we want to include for git ignore. And yeah, we are good to go. We can hit the git before we hit our first commit, the initial commit. What we want to do is we want to see what are the different components of Cypress. So let's just know about those. So now that you have Cypress installed, what you want to do is you can create, or you can start Cypress by npx cypress open. You can just issue this command to open the Cypress. So yeah, once you issue that command, you will be having this Cypress launchpad. So this particular window is called launchpad of Cypress, and from here you will have two options. So either you want to go for E2E testing or component testing. If you are using a project where you are using React.js or certain frameworks, so you might have components defined over there. So if you want to test each and individual component, you want to go with component testing. So these are two open modes basically that we will be prompted when we open the launchpad. For now we will go with E2E testing. So let's just click on this. Over here it will say that we are opening this project for the first time. So there are a couple of files that will be added once we configure our Cypress for the first time. So these are the files that will be by default added to our project. So that is the same prompt that we can see over here. We can press continue. Now it will ask us to choose a browser. So based on your preference and based on the browser that you might have installed, you will be asked to choose the browser. By default it will show you the Electron browser, that is the default browser for Cypress, and the Chrome. We can choose any of the browser. So I have kept the Chrome as my browser where I want to perform the test, and we can click on this start E2E testing in Chrome. So once we click on this, it will open this window where we can see all this stuff. So here you will see the spec window, the runs window. Basically this run window will only be enabled when you log in to the dashboard, the Cypress dashboard. So whenever you perform the test, the dashboard will show all the runs that you might have performed in the past, so that you can keep track of all the test run that you are running on your application. Then you have certain debug options. So for all of this run you might also have the debug option. Then there are certain settings, so project setting, device setting, and Cypress cloud setting that you might want to explore spending your own time. We will explore in our upcoming videos, but just for the information, these are the different sections. Now the main section for this video that we want to focus on, this is specs. So specs are nothing but the files that will have a code to perform the test that we want. Now we can use this option to scaffold the example specs that will cover all the basics of bits and bytes of Cypress that we can use with, or we can create a new spec file. Now if you want to learn by yourself, you can just go ahead with scaffold example specs, but in this video what we are going to do is we are going to create a new spec to create a new spec file. Now once you click on this, it will ask you to enter the path and the name of your new spec file. We'll keep this as a by default whatever we are seeing over here, and we'll click on create spec. Now this file will be generated on this particular path on my VS Code also, and yeah, I can click on this OK, run the spec, and this is basically default spec that will be generated. So what this will does is this will go to this example.cypress.io. So yeah, that's the first Cypress test code that you might have executed on your browser. Congratulations. So when you come to your VS Code after doing all those steps that we did, you might have this. So I can just minimize this. So you might have this number of files. So first is the Cypress config.js file. This is very important file. Basically here we can describe all the base settings, all the environment variables that we want to go with. All the stuff we can define inside the Cypress config.js. More on this file we'll see in next upcoming videos. Now you might have this folder called Cypress, and inside this you might have these three folders: E2E, fixture, and support. Now in support 4 you might have this two file which is called command.js and E2E.js. So command.js will have a custom command, so the custom code that we want to execute with. So let's say there are certain reusable codes that we want to use, such as login or drag, or the example commands that might have given over here. We can define it in this file, and we can reuse it in our tests. Then we have something called e2e.js. So this is the similar file, but the function that will be defined over here will be loaded automatically on our test. Now we have this fixtures folder. So basically this folder is used to store all the files that will store the data or the fixed data that we will be using to perform our certain test. So let's say email, name, body, so something like this. Let's say username or other information, or the non-sensitive information, we can put it inside example.json file. Under this e2e, now all our tests will reside under this folder. So let's say the file that we have created using the GUI, so that has been created over here. So spec.js. So this is the basic code structure of Cypress. So basically in Cypress, so any file name .sci.js is a spec file, and spec file will have multiple so the test will be written in this file. Now the test will consist of describe block. Describe block will basically describe the test suite, and as we know, each test suite might have different tests. So each describe block will have different it blocks. So multiple it blocks will be there in the describe block, and these it blocks will have a code or a simple one test that we want to execute. So for an example, we are going to visit this particular URL. So that's the first test of your Cypress. So I hope you have got the idea about the basics of Cypress. You might have got the overview about what is the folder structure, and yeah, let's say if we create any spec file over here. So let's say sample.sci.js, and let's say describe. Okay, so let's just copy this structure from here to here. We can just, let's say, HTTPS. We can put any URL basically over here. So let me just take an URL. So yeah, I kept this URL. So let me just this is my custom project that I have hosted on GitHub. So testing Arista Lab requester. Now let me describe the first test. It visits the home page. Right now this will go to this particular URL, and now what we can do is we can go to dashboard. Now from this menu specs, you can see we have both of these files, sample and spec. So this was created using this UI, and this was created on Visual Studio Code, and all the files are reflected. So both of these files are reflecting over here. Now we can choose whichever spec file we want to run. Let's say we choose this sample.sci.js, which we have created just now. So yeah, if you can see, the test has been passed, and you can see the it block that we have. We throw the description of it block, it is showing over here. So this is how you can perform and set up your basic Cypress test. And yeah, I think that's it for this video. In upcoming videos we'll explore what is the basic structure of Cypress, and how we can write test case, and how we can use this describe and it blocks in much more detail. So yeah, I hope you have got the setup, how to do setup. We'll meet in the next video. Till then, keep learning and keep exploring.